Welcome back. This is Today. Victims of last week's crash between a taxi and a truck have been laid to rest in Limpopo. 16 people were killed in a horror collision on the R579 in Groblersdal. It's understood that the driver of the taxi was trying to overtake when it collided head-on with the truck. Reporter Moloko Moloto joins us on that story. A very good afternoon to you, Moloko, and I'm sure it was a very emotional day with the burial of those family members. Tell us a little bit about it and the proceedings that were underway.
A lot of you, Amadzana. Well, a very difficult and emotional day for the families, of course, not only for the families, but also the community. You'd recall that majority of the 16 people who perished in that accident come from the village of Tafelkop. So this is where the mass funeral took place this morning. 16 people died on that Friday, and this was just in one district, the Sekhukhune district. On that particular day, there were 3 other accidents, and in total on that Friday in the province of Limpopo, 24 people died on the roads, which is a concern for not only for the people of Limpopo, but also for the authorities. And today, of course, we were told that at the funeral service itself, we witnessed, of course, 7 bodies that were buried today. And we were told by the local mayor, David Kladi, that yesterday on Friday they buried 1, and the other families decided that they will hold their own individual burials. But in total today, they have managed to bury 13, and the 14th person was buried yesterday. The other 2 people who died in that particular accident that killed 16 people, we are told that they are from Zimbabwe, and they are busy with the paperwork to repatriate their bodies to Zimbabwe. And, of course, we spoke to the taxi association. You'd recall, Rofiwa, that this accident involved 3 minibus taxis that were traveling towards the farming town of Groblersdal on that day in the morning, and one of them decided to overtake, and that's when he collided with an oncoming truck, and as a result, the other 2 taxis were also involved. That is why you have had so many people dying in that accident. And the taxi associations are saying, look, this is a matter really that we have to look at to ensure that our taxis are not the moving coffins, but they continue to safely transport the people to various destinations. We caught up with the MEC for Treasury, who was representing the Premier of Limpopo, Stan Matabata. His name is Seaparo Sekwati, and he does concede that these road carnages are concerning to his government. But also he's saying that it's not always possible that you will have traffic cops in every corner to monitor and regulate the motorists. It is important that the road users themselves change their attitudes when they are on the road. Let's listen to MEC Seaparo Sekwati.
We are saddened by the sudden rate of carnage that we are seeing on our roads, particularly that leads to loss of lives. And we are believing that it is not only because of the roads, but also the status of our roads, but also it's about how, as road users, we are actually behaving on the roads, because it's more important that we are able to change our attitude and become more positive and be able to understand that we need to share the roads, but as well remain patient when we are on the road, because part of what is happening is that we just become impatient unnecessarily when we are using our roads. So it's important that our road users need to always and at all times understand that accidents can happen, depending on the attitude that we have. So there is no amount of law enforcement that can actually keep us safe on our roads. So we just need to change our attitude and make sure that we're able to follow all the laws and be able to save lives.
And of course, different stakeholders are involved in this conversation, Moloko, one of them being the Taxi Association. What are they saying about the state of road carnage and particularly this particular collision?
Yeah, well, you would recall that, as I said, 3 minibus taxis were involved in that accident. 2 of the drivers perished, unfortunately, on that day. But I've just been informed just before we came on air that also the driver of the truck, luckily he survived. He was discharged from hospital. It's very difficult, Rofiwa, even for the local health authority to kind of like give us an update in as far as the number of those who were injured, as to whether they've been discharged from hospital or not. This is primarily because at some point, some of the families of those who were injured decided to take them to private hospitals. Others were taken to hospitals out of the province of Limpopo to Gauteng and Mpumalanga and the nearby provinces. And as a result, they have lost track in terms of how many people have been discharged from the hospital. Speaking to the stakeholders who were there, the taxi industry is concerned about the road carnage, acknowledging that, look, it shouldn't be the taxis that kill the people on the road. They are also amenable, I must say, Rafiwa, to suggestions that perhaps they should start to tighten the training and ensure that, for instance, as the Democratic Alliance in the province has suggested, that perhaps it's about time they introduce the competency tests regularly of the taxi drivers, because these are the taxi drivers in the majority are the people who transport children. 7 children in this particular accident, unfortunately, perished. Let's listen to the gentleman from the Taxi Association who responded to this accident.
We are going back to do introspection about all this, and we are also awaiting for the SAPS report, which is the South African Police Service, to give us the report specific of what has happened and everything. And we are confirming that, of course, action will be taken because we are condemning this. We need to save our community alive, because without them being alive, we have no business. They are our source of income. We need to respect them and we need to serve them as they deserve. We are going to train our drivers. We are going to introduce the system that if the driver doesn't have that certificate, will not be allowed to hire it anywhere. So we are busy getting that to a resolution. So once you have that to a resolution, and then we will avoid this at all costs. Like I'm saying, we also need other modes of transport also to helping in hand here, because it's not only one vehicle that will collide with another. It will be the second or the third vehicle which will be involved in that accident. So we need to work together. So the roads, yes, needs to be fixed. As much as we are going to fight or try to prepare our drivers, test their readiness and everything, but the roads as well needs to be prepared. We need to work together with government to assist us. We shouldn't put blame to one another, but we are saying the roads are very bad, very, very bad. The roads are very bad.
Thank you very much, Moloko Moloto, for that update and getting the voices of the involved stakeholders to weigh in on a serious situation there.